Captain Lee Taman stared at the massive ship blocking his path through space. The alien vessel was 10 times larger than his own ship, the Harmony's Edge. Its dark metal surface seemed to eat light itself. Strange symbols glowed along its sides, like angry red eyes watching him. "Captain, they're sending us a message," said Lieutenant Park Sora from her station. Her fingers moved quickly over the controls. "It's coming through on all channels." Taman nodded. "Put it on screen." The main display flickered to life. A creature appeared that made everyone on the bridge take a step back. It stood nearly 3 meters tall, its body made of what looked like living crystal. Blue light pulsed through its transparent skin. When it spoke, its voice sounded like breaking glass. "Primitive species of the 3rd planet," the being said. "I am Speaker Veltar of the Galactic Council. You have entered Council space without permission. This is forbidden." Dr. Kim Jae-sung, the ship's science officer, whispered to Taemin, "Captain, I'm reading 11 more ships just like this one. They're surrounding us." Taemin kept his face calm, but his heart was racing. This was humanity's first journey beyond their solar system. They had hoped to find other intelligent life, but not like this. "We come in peace," Taemin said into the communicator. "We are explorers from Earth. We mean no harm to anyone." The crystal being made a sound that might have been laughter. "Peace is not yours to offer, human. The Galactic Council has ruled this galaxy for 10,000 of your years. Every species must follow our laws." "We didn't know about your laws," Sora said, stepping forward. "We're new to space travel. Surely we can work something out." Speaker Veltar's crystal face showed no emotion. "Ignorance is not an excuse. The Council has studied your species for some time. You are violent, chaotic, and unpredictable. You fight among yourselves constantly. Such beings cannot be allowed to spread through the galaxy." The alien touched something on its chest. Suddenly, the main screen showed Earth. Taemin's homeworld looked beautiful and peaceful from space, but now he could see hundreds of alien ships surrounding it. His blood ran cold. "Your planet is surrounded by the Council fleet," Veltar continued. "Every human settlement in your system is targeted. You have exactly 72 of your hours to surrender completely." "Surrender?" Jae-sung asked. "What does that mean?" "Your species will become servants of the Council. Your scientists will work in our laboratories. Your engineers will build our ships. Your soldiers will fight our wars. In return, we will allow you to live." Taemin felt anger building in his chest. "And if we refuse?" The crystal being's eyes flashed brighter. "Then every human city will burn. Your species will join the others who thought they could defy the Council. Their names are forgotten now, their worlds are empty." Sora stepped closer to Taemin. "Captain, we need to contact Earth immediately." "You may send one message to your leaders," Veltar said. "Tell them what you have learned here. Tell them the Council's offer will not be repeated. Surrender or die. These are your only choices." The transmission ended, leaving the bridge in shocked silence. Taemin looked at his crew. They were all young, brave people who had volunteered for humanity's first interstellar mission. Now they might be among the last free humans in the galaxy. "Sora, open a channel to Earth Command," Taemin ordered. "Channel open, Captain." "Earth Command, this is Captain Lee Taemin of the Harmony's Edge. We have made contact with an alien force calling itself the Galactic Council. They have given humanity an ultimatum." He paused, choosing his words carefully. "The situation is Code Red. Repeat, Code Red." The response came from Admiral Choi Min-ho himself. "Understood, Captain. Can you tell us more about these aliens?" Taemin looked at Jae-sung, who nodded. "They call themselves the Galactic Council. They claim to rule the entire galaxy. Their technology is far beyond ours. They have us surrounded here, and they say Earth is surrounded too." "What are their demands?" Admiral Min-ho asked. "Complete surrender of our species. Slavery, basically. They've given us 72 hours to decide." There was a long pause from Earth. When Min-ho spoke again, his voice was steady. "Captain, maintain your position. Continue gathering intelligence about these aliens. Do not provoke them. We'll handle things from here." "Understood, Admiral." The transmission ended. Taemin turned to his science officer. Jae-sung, I want you to scan everything you can about their ships. Use passive sensors only. Don't let them know we're studying them. Already on it, Captain. Their technology is incredible. I've never seen energy readings like this. Sora was working at her station. Captain, I'm picking up transmissions between the alien ships. I can't understand the language, but I'm recording everything. Good. Keep monitoring. Tae-min sat in his captain's chair and thought. The situation looked hopeless. These aliens had technology that was thousands of years ahead of humanity. They commanded fleets that could destroy planets. How could Earth possibly fight beings like this? But something bothered him about the crystal alien's words. If the Council was so powerful, why give humans time to surrender? Why not just attack immediately? Maybe they weren't as confident as they seemed. Captain, Jae-sung said quietly, I'm detecting something strange. These ships are old, very old. The metal they're made from shows signs of age that our equipment can barely measure. What does that mean? I think this council has been using the same ships for a very long time. Maybe thousands of years. They haven't built anything new. Sora looked up from her console. Captain, I've been analyzing their formation. It's perfect. Too perfect. Like they've done this exact same thing hundreds of times before. Taemin frowned. You think this is routine for them? Yes, sir. I think they surround a new species, make threats, and wait for surrender. It probably works every time. But what if it doesn't work? Taemin wondered aloud. His crew looked at him with hope in their eyes. Maybe Earth had a chance after all. These aliens might be powerful, but they seemed to think all species were the same. They had no idea what humans were really capable of when their backs were against the wall. Keep gathering data, Taemin ordered, and pray that Earth Command has a plan. Through the view screen, the alien ships waited like patient predators. But Captain Lee Taemin was beginning to think these predators had never faced prey that could bite back. Ambassador Park Sora stood in the middle of the Galactic Council chamber, feeling very small. The room was enormous, with 12 different alien species sitting in a circle around her. Each one looked stranger than the last. Some were covered in scales, others had tentacles instead of arms, and one seemed to be made entirely of flowing liquid metal. The crystal being, Speaker Veltar, sat on the highest throne. The human request to speak before the council. How amusing. No species has ever asked for this honor before accepting their fate. Sora took a deep breath. She had spent the last day preparing for this moment. Back on Earth, President Kang Hyun-woo had given her specific instructions. Play the part of a desperate diplomat. Make them think humans were weak and scared. Buy as much time as possible. Great members of the Galactic Council, Sora began, bowing low. I come before you not to challenge your authority, but to beg for understanding. A slug-like creature with multiple eyes made a bubbling sound that might have been laughter. Begging already. This species learns quickly. Please, Sora continued, let me tell you about my people. We are not the violent savages you think we are. Yes, we have wars, but we also have great beauty. We create art, music, poetry. We care for our sick and old. We love our children more than our own lives. The liquid metal being spoke in a voice like rushing water. All species claim to be special. All species think their culture matters. It does not. Only strength matters in this galaxy. Sora pulled out a small device and activated it. Holographic images filled the air around her. Pictures of Earths, mountains, oceans, and forests. Images of human art and architecture. Music began to play softly. This is what you would destroy, she said, her voice shaking with what seemed like fear. Not just our bodies, but our souls, our dreams, our hope for the future. Several council members looked bored. One was actually sleeping, but Sora noticed that a few seemed interested in the images. She had studied each species during her preparation. Some of them had once been artists and philosophers before the council conquered them. Dr. Kim Jae-sung watched from the observation deck above. He was supposed to be there as Sora's scientific advisor, but his real job was gathering intelligence. While the council members focused on the ambassador's performance, he was scanning their technology and biology with hidden sensors. His earpiece crackled softly with Admiral Choi Minho's voice. "How are we doing, Doctor?" "The scans are working. Perfectly," Jae-sung whispered. "Their security is overconfident. I'm learning everything about their ship designs, their biology, even their computer systems." Back on Earth, engineer Yu Da-eun was analyzing the data as it came in. She sat in a secret bunker deep underground, surrounded by screens showing alien technology. "This is incredible," she muttered to herself. "Their ships are powerful, but the designs are ancient. They haven't innovated in thousands of years." President Hyun-woo stood behind her, watching the data flow. "Can we use this?" "Oh yes," Da-eun smiled. "They're so confident in their superiority that they're showing us everything. It's like they want us to know how hopeless it is." In the council chamber, Sora was still pleading. Surely there must be some way for humanity to earn its place in the galaxy. We could contribute so much. Our creativity, our adaptability, our passion for exploration. Speaker Veltar's crystal face showed contempt. Creativity is chaos. Adaptability is weakness. Passion is inefficiency. These are the traits that make your species unfit to exist freely. "But think of what we could accomplish together," Sora said, stepping closer to the council seats. Humans and the great species of the council working side by side. A reptilian being with 6 arms hissed in annoyance. "You speak as if you are our equals. You have been spacefaring for mere moments. We have ruled the galaxy since before your son was born." Sora lowered her head. "I know we are young. I know we are weak. But even the youngest child can sometimes see things that wise adults miss. Maybe our fresh perspective could help the council." While she spoke, Captain Nam Soo-jin was hundreds of light years away, floating in the darkness of space inside a completely invisible ship. Her stealth vessel was so advanced that it didn't exist on any scanner in the galaxy. She and her crew were part of humanity's greatest secret. "Control, this is Shadow 1, she whispered into her communicator. "I'm in position above the Council's homeworld. No sign that they've detected us." "Confirmed, Shadow 1, came the reply from Colonel Oh Dong-hyuk. "All stealth units are in position. Operation Ghost Dance is ready to begin on your signal." Soo-jin smiled as she watched the alien city far below. The Council thought they were so smart, so powerful. They had no idea that 50 human ships were hiding in their most secure systems, completely invisible, waiting for the perfect moment to strike. Back in the council chamber, the aliens were growing tired of Sora's pleading. The slug creature made another bubbling sound. "Enough of this theater. Your species has heard our terms. Surrender or die. Choose now." "Please," Sora said, falling to her knees. "Just give us more time. Let us prove that humans can be valuable servants. We're willing to serve, but we need time to convince our people." The liquid metal being flowed closer to her. "Time is what inferior species always request. Time to prepare defenses that cannot protect them. Time to plan escapes that will not succeed. Time changes nothing." Speaker Veltar raised one crystal hand. "However, your species amuses us. You are more entertaining than most. We will grant you 1 additional day to convince your leaders. Use it wisely." Sora bowed deeply. "Thank you, Great Speaker. Your mercy will be remembered forever." As the council session ended, Jae-sung helped Sora to her feet. To any watching alien, it looked like he was comforting a defeated diplomat. In reality, he was whispering in her ear, "We got everything we needed. Ship designs, fleet positions, command codes. The data is already being transmitted to Earth." Sora nodded slightly. "Good. How much longer do we need?" "Admiral Minho says 6 more hours. Can you keep them busy that long?" "I'll find a way." As they left the council chamber, neither of them noticed the small smile on Sora's face. The aliens thought they had granted humanity 1 more day of existence out of cruel amusement. They had no idea they had just given Earth exactly the time it needed to turn the tables. Deep in space, invisible human ships continued their silent approach to their targets. The Council had asserted their authority over humanity. Soon, they would learn what humanity's reply really meant. Speaker Veltar was about to give the order to destroy Earth when Admiral Choi Min-ho's voice filled every Council ship in the galaxy. Attention, Galactic Council. This is Admiral Choi Min-ho of the Earth Defense Force. Your ultimatum is rejected. The crystal being's eyes flashed with anger. Impossible. How are you transmitting on our secure channels? The same way we've been watching you for the past 30 years. Min-ho replied calmly. Did you really think you were the only ones with advanced technology? Across the galaxy, 47 human ships suddenly appeared out of nowhere. They materialized around every major Council world, space station, and fleet base. The stealth technology that had kept them invisible was so advanced that even now, Council sensors could barely detect them. Captain Nam Soo-jin smiled as her ship, Shadow 1, became visible above the Council's capital world. Around her, 11 more human vessels appeared like ghosts becoming solid. Below them, the alien city's defense systems went crazy, alarms screaming as they tried to target ships that had been right above them all along. This is impossible, Speaker Veltar said, his voice shaking for the first time. Our sensors would have detected any ships entering our space. Your sensors are 10,000 years old. Dr. Han Yuri's voice came through the transmission. She was speaking from a command center hidden in Earth's moon. We've had decades to study them and find their weaknesses. In the Council chamber, the alien leaders were in chaos. The slug creature was making panicked, bubbling sounds. The reptilian being was frantically giving orders to its fleet commanders. The liquid metal entity was flowing back and forth across the floor in distress. How long have you been watching us? Veltar demanded. Since 1995, Min-ho answered. That's when we first detected your spy probes entering our solar system. We let you think you were studying us in secret, while we were actually studying you, Captain Ni. Lee Taemin, still aboard the Harmony's Edge, watched with amazement as the truth unfolded. All those years of space exploration preparation, he whispered to his crew. It wasn't just about reaching the stars. It was about being ready for this. Colonel Oh Dong-hyuk was aboard the strike ship Thunder's Edge, positioned near the Council's main military base. Admiral, we have visual confirmation of their fleet dispositions. Everything matches our intelligence exactly. Confirmed, Colonel. Begin Operation Lightning Strike. What happened next stunned the Council beyond belief. Though, human ships didn't attack with massive weapons or devastating explosives. Instead, they used precise surgical strikes that disabled Council vessels without destroying them. Engines were knocked offline, weapon systems were scrambled, communication arrays were jammed. You're not trying to kill us, the liquid metal, being observed, confusion in its watery voice. No, Min-ho replied. We're not monsters. We're just making sure you can't hurt anyone while we have this conversation. Major Lim Hye-jin was coordinating the intelligence operation from her ship above the Council's data center. Admiral, I'm uploading the virus now. Dr. Yuri's program is working perfectly. Yuri had created something that Council technology couldn't stop. Not a destructive virus, but an information virus. It spread through their networks like wildfire, but instead of destroying data, it shared data. Every secret the Council had kept for thousands of years was suddenly being broadcast across the galaxy. On thousands of worlds, enslaved species watched in amazement as the truth filled their screens. They saw records of their conquest. They learned about other species that had been destroyed for resisting. They discovered that many of their gods and legends were actually memories of the freedom they had lost. You're showing them everything, Veltar said, his crystal form beginning to crack with stress. Truth has a way of spreading, Commander Bae-won-shik said from his ship near the Council's communication hub. We learned that from our own history. Secrets are only powerful when they stay secret. Back on Earth, President Hyeon-woo was watching the operation from the command center. Engineer Da-eun stood beside him, monitoring the human fleet's performance. All ships reporting successful deployment, she said. The Council's response time is exactly what we predicted. They're so used to overwhelming inferior technology that they have no protocols for dealing with equals. Or superiors, Hyun-woo. added quietly. In space around Earth, the Council fleet that had been preparing to destroy humanity was discovering that they were the ones surrounded. Captain Ryu Seong-min led a squadron of human fighters that seemed to appear from empty space itself. Council fleet, this is Captain Ryu Seong-min. You are ordered to power down your weapons and prepare to be boarded. The Council fleet commander, a massive insectoid creature, clicked its mandibles in confusion. Your fighters are smaller than our point defense systems. How can you threaten us? Size isn't everything, Seong-min replied. His small ship suddenly accelerated to impossible speeds, weaving between the alien vessel's weapons fire like it was standing still. Human fighters used tactics that the Council had never seen before, working together in ways that seemed to defy military logic. Dr. Jae Sung, still in the Council chamber with Ambassador Sora, was recording everything. Admiral, I'm detecting massive system failures across their fleet. It's like they've forgotten how to adapt to new situations. That's exactly what's happened, Minho replied. They've been using the same tactics for so long that they can't change, but humans. We've been changing and adapting for our entire history. Speaker Veltar looked around at his fellow council members. Some were trying to give orders that no one was following. Others sat in stunned silence. The reptilian being was actually cowering behind its throne. This cannot be happening, Veltar said. We are the Galactic Council. We have ruled for 10,000 years. And now your rule is over, Sora said, standing up. Her voice was no longer pleading or desperate. She sounded like what she really was, a representative of a species that had just changed the course of galactic history. You wanted to know what humanity's answer was to your ultimatum, she continued. This is our answer. We don't accept your authority. We don't recognize your right to rule other species, and we're offering every enslaved world in this galaxy the chance to be free. Across the galaxy, on planets that had been under council control for thousands of years, the impossible was happening. Enslaved species were looking up at the sky and seeing human ships. They were hearing broadcasts that told them resistance was possible. For the first time in millennia, they had hope. The Council's 10,000-year reign was crumbling, and it had taken humanity less than one day to bring it down. The galaxy would never be the same. The galaxy exploded into chaos as the Council's enslaved worlds began to rebel. On the mining planet Ketra 9, workers who had been digging for Council metals suddenly turned their tools into weapons. On the agricultural world BEM 4, farmers stopped, sending food shipments to Council worlds. Across thousands of systems, species that had forgotten the meaning of freedom were remembering it fast. Speaker Veltar's crystal form was cracking more with each passing hour. Order the reserve fleets to crush these rebellions immediately. What reserve fleets? The liquid metal being asked frantically. The humans have disabled or captured most of our ships. Captain Nam Soo-jin was leading the boarding of a massive Council dreadnought above their capital world. Her team moved through the alien corridors like shadows, using tactics that confused the defenders completely. These passages weren't designed for combat, she told her team through their communicators. The Council never expected anyone to fight aboard their ships. Behind her, Sergeant Kim Min-woo disabled another security system. Captain, their defenses are all external. Once we're inside, they have almost nothing to stop us. The alien crew didn't know how to fight intruders who appeared from ventilation shafts, used improvised weapons, and worked as a team instead of following rigid command structures. Colonel Oh Dong-hyuk had trained the boarding teams using lessons, learned from every war in human history. The Council had no experience with such tactics. Bridge secured, Admiral, Soo-jin reported. The ship's captain surrendered without firing a shot. Excellent work, Captain. Secure their navigation computers and move to the next target. Dr. Yuri was monitoring the information war from her command center. The virus she had created was spreading faster than the Council could stop it. Every time they shut down one communication network, it jumped to 3 others. Admiral Minho, I'm seeing massive data requests from across the galaxy, she reported. Enslaved species are downloading everything about Council technology, history, and weaknesses. Any response from the Council? They're trying to shut down their own networks to stop the spread, but that's making their military coordination even worse. They're cutting themselves off to protect their secrets. Commander Baywanshik was using submarine warfare tactics adapted for space combat. His ship could hide in the shadow of asteroids and space debris, appearing suddenly to disable Council vessels before vanishing again. Target acquired, he told his crew. Council supply ship, carrying weapons to put down the rebellion on Vaxxer 7. Permission to engage, Commander? Negative. These supplies were meant to hurt innocent people. We're redirecting them. Wanshik's ship attached itself to the Council vessel like a parasite. Within minutes, his engineers had taken control of the ship's navigation system. Council vessel, this is Commander Baywanshik. Your weapons shipment is being redirected to the rebels on Vaxxer 7. Have a nice day. Major Lim Hyejin was coordinating attacks across 17 different star systems simultaneously. Her intelligence network was feeding real-time information to human commanders throughout the galaxy. Captain Ryu, Council reinforcements are heading to your position. Estimated arrival in 40 minutes. Copy that, Major. We'll be ready for them. Captain Ryu Song-min had discovered that human fighter tactics were perfect for confusing alien fleet commanders. Instead of flying in formation like Council pilots, human fighters moved like a flock of birds, each pilot making independent decisions, while still working toward the same goal. Remember, he told his squadron, these aliens have been fighting the same way for thousands of years. Every time we do something unexpected, it takes them twice as long to respond. The Council fleet that arrived to help their forces found themselves facing an enemy that refused to fight like a proper military. Human fighters would attack, disappear, reappear somewhere else, and attack again. They used asteroids for cover, hidden sensor shadows and coordinated attacks that seemed random, but were actually carefully planned. This is impossible, the Council fleet commander transmitted. They're violating every rule of space combat. That's the point, Xiongmin replied, as his fighter squadron disabled 3 Council ships in 30 seconds. We never agreed to follow your rules. Back in the Council chamber, the alien leaders were watching their empire collapse in real time. Reports were coming in from every corner of the galaxy. Their fleets were being captured or disabled. Their enslaved worlds were in open revolt. Their communication networks were compromised. How many ships have we lost? Veltar asked weakly. The reptilian being checked its console with shaking claws. 70% of our fleet is either captured, disabled, or has joined the rebellion. Joined. The rebellion? Some of our own crews are switching sides. The humans are offering them freedom instead of servitude. Many are accepting. Ambassador Sora was still in the chamber, but now she wasn't pretending to be helpless. She stood confidently in the center of the room, watching the Council's power crumble around them. This was never about defeating you in battle, she told them. This was about showing the galaxy that you could be defeated. Every species you've enslaved is seeing that the mighty Council can be brought down by a young race that only reached the stars yesterday. On Earth, President Haiyan Wu was receiving reports from across the galaxy. Engineer Dayun was coordinating the technical aspects of the revolution, while Admiral Min Ho managed the military operations. Mr. President, Dayun said, we're getting requests for assistance from 47 different rebel groups. They want human advisors to help coordinate their freedom movements. Approved. Send them everything they need. Sir, the Council is requesting a ceasefire, Min Ho reported. They want to negotiate. Haiyan Wu thought for a moment. Tell them we'll consider it, but only if they release every enslaved world immediately. No conditions, no gradual transition. Complete freedom for every species they've oppressed. The liquid metal being in the Council chamber was flowing in agitated patterns across the floor. We cannot simply release control of the galaxy. There will be chaos, war, suffering. There's already suffering, Sora replied. The suffering you've caused for 10,000 years. At least now, species can suffer for their own choices instead of yours. Dr. Jae-sung was analyzing the Council's biological responses to stress. Ambassador, I'm reading massive system failures in several Council members. I think their bodies aren't designed to handle this level of uncertainty. They've been in control for so long that they don't know how to exist without it, Sora observed. But they're going to have to learn. Captain Lee Taemin, still aboard the Harmony's Edge, was watching Council ships surrender all around him. Sora, Jae-sung, it's time to come home. The fleet is ready to escort us back to Earth. With pleasure, Captain. I think our work here is done. As the human ships began their journey home, they left behind a galaxy that was already changing. The Council's authority was broken. Their enslaved species were free, and humanity had proven that even the mightiest empire could fall if it forgot that freedom was stronger than fear. The war was ending, but the real work was just beginning. 6 months after the Council's surrender, Fleet Admiral Park Tae-hyun stood in what used to be the Council's grand chamber. The room looked very different now. Instead of 12 thrones arranged in a circle of power, there were hundreds of chairs, arranged in rows. Representatives from every free species in the galaxy sat together, arguing, debating, and slowly learning how to govern themselves. The vote on trade regulations between the Ketra and BEM systems is now open, announced diplomat Lee Hae-won, who had become the galaxy's first democratically elected speaker. Her voice carried across the chamber in dozens of different languages, translated by systems that Dr. Yuri had adapted from captured Council technology. Tae-hyun smiled as he watched a three-eyed creature from Ketra 9 argue passionately with a plant-like being from BEM 4. 6 months ago, both of their species had been slaves. Now they were free citizens debating tax policy. It wasn't always pretty, but it was democracy. Admiral, Captain Song Min-ji approached him quietly. She commanded the joint peacekeeping force that maintained order during the transition. We have a situation on Vaxor 7. 2 rebel groups are fighting over mining rights. Send a mediation team, Tae-hyun said, and remind them that freedom includes the freedom to solve problems without shooting each other. Already done, sir. I sent Captain Nam Soo-jin's team. She has experience with difficult negotiations. Captain Nam Soo-jin was indeed having a difficult negotiation. The 2 Vaxor groups had been enslaved for so long that they had forgotten how to compromise. Each side wanted everything for themselves, just like the Council had taught them. Listen, she told the group leaders through her translator. You both spent centuries being told that only the strong survive. But humans learned something different. We learned that everyone survives better when they work together. Easy words, growled one of the Vaxor leaders, a bear-like creature with 4 arms. But resources are limited. If they take more, we get less. That's only true if you're thinking. Like the Council, Soo-jin replied. What if instead of fighting over the existing mines, you worked together to find new ones? What if you shared technology and techniques? You might end up with more resources than either group could get alone. The other leader, a thin reptilian being, tilted its head thoughtfully. This is possible? It's how humans went from fighting with sticks to traveling between stars in just a few thousand years. Cooperation is the most powerful technology in the galaxy. Back on Earth, engineer Yu De-yoon was working with alien scientists in laboratories that would have been impossible to imagine a year ago. Her current project partner was a crystal being similar to Speaker Veltar, but this one had chosen freedom over the Council's rigid control. The energy converter is working perfectly, the crystal scientist, who called himself Brightsong, reported. Combined with human creativity and Council precision, we can provide clean power to any world in the galaxy. And the best part, Da-yoon added, is that we're sharing the technology freely. No species has to trade their freedom for energy anymore. President Kang Hyun-woo was in his office meeting with former Council members who had requested asylum on Earth. Most of the Council leadership had been tried for their crimes, but some of the younger members had genuinely wanted to change. We understand if you cannot forgive us, said a liquid metal being who had taken the name Flow of Regret. But we wish to help repair the damage our people caused. Forgiveness is something each victim will have to decide for themselves, Hyun-woo replied. But if you truly want to help, there's plenty of work to be done. Dr. Kim Jae-sung was part of a scientific exchange program, studying on the former Council homeworld, alongside researchers from 50 different species. The diversity of perspectives was creating breakthroughs that none of them could have achieved alone. Humans think about problems differently than we do, his lab partner, a tentacled creature from the ocean world Aqua 7 observed. You see possibilities, where we see only obstacles. And you see patterns where we see only chaos, Jae-sung replied. Together, we're solving problems that have puzzled the galaxy for thousands of years. Colonel Oh Dong-hyuk had traded his military uniform for civilian clothes, but he was still serving the cause of freedom. He now trained security forces for newly liberated worlds, teaching them how to protect democracy instead of oppressing it. Remember, he told a class of mixed-species recruits, your job is not to control people. Your job is to protect their right to control themselves. Captain Lee Taemin was back in space, but the Harmony's Edge was no longer humanity's only interstellar ship. The galaxy was full of vessels carrying mixed crews, exploring regions that had been forbidden under Council rule. His current mission was taking him to a system that had been completely isolated for 3,000 years. Captain, his new science officer, a six-limbed being from the mountainous world of Stoneheart, reported, I'm detecting signs of intelligent life on the fourth planet. A species the Council never found? It appears so. They've developed in complete isolation. Their technology is different from anything we've seen. Timon smiled. Then let's go say hello. And this time, we'll do it right. Dr. Han Yuri was working on the galaxy's new communication network, designed to connect every world without allowing any single group to control the flow of information. The lessons of the Council's fall had taught them that knowledge was too important to be monopolized. The network is fully operational, she reported to the Galactic Assembly. Every species, no matter how small or remote, now has access to the sum total of galactic knowledge. Ambassador Park Sora, now serving as Earth's representative to the Galactic Assembly, stood to address the chamber. 1 year ago, the Council told humanity that we had only two choices, surrender or die. They never imagined a third option. The chamber filled with sounds of approval from dozens of different species. Some clapped, some sang, some made clicking sounds with their mandibles. All were celebrating the same thing, freedom. We chose to change everything, Sora continued. Not just for ourselves, but for every intelligent being in the galaxy. The Council asserted their authority over us, and our reply shook them to their foundations. But our real reply wasn't the battles we won or the ships we captured. Our real reply was this: a galaxy where every species has a voice. Captain Song Minji was patrolling the Outer Rim, where some former Council loyalists still tried to restart their old empire. Her ship carried representatives from 12 different species, all working together to keep the peace. Contact on sensors, her tactical officer, a former Council engineer who had joined the rebellion, reported. It's a ship full of refugees from the Spiral Arm conflicts. Set course to intercept. Let's see if we can help them find a new home. This was the new galaxy. Messy, chaotic, full of arguments and problems, but also full of hope, cooperation, and endless possibilities. Species that had been enemies were becoming friends. Technologies that had been hoarded were being shared. Worlds that had been prisons were becoming homes. Fleet Admiral Tae-hyun looked out the window of the assembly chamber at the stars beyond. Somewhere out there, human ships were exploring alongside alien crews. Former slaves were building new civilizations. Ancient enemies were learning to work together. The Galactic Council had ruled through fear for 10,000 years, believing that only the strong deserved to survive. But humanity had shown them something they never understood. The strongest force in the galaxy wasn't fear or power or ancient authority. It was hope. And hope, once awakened, could never be enslaved again.